firstly, just want to express my gratitude for the invitation to be with you this day. And again, to each of you who have traveled from far and wide for taking time to participate in this wonderful symposium, this conference. What I want to start with really is the challenge, and the challenge is how do we build a culture of life? How do we return to a people that love life, respect life, protect life, and serve life? Now I start with this passage, which is taken from the wonderful encyclical of St. John Paul II, Evangelium Vitae. And I'd like to read the passage to you, again, just to strengthen the challenge that is before us as a people who are called to build that culture of life. He says, the present encyclical. Now this encyclical came out in March 25th, 1995. He says, the fruit of the cooperation of the episcopate of every country of the world is therefore meant to be a precise and vigorous reaffirmation of the value of human life and its inviolability, and at the same time a pressing appeal addressed to each and every person in the name of God: respect, protect, love, and serve every human life. Only in this direction will you find justice, development, true freedom, peace, and happiness. Now, if we really listen to these very prophetic words, I believe in the work that I do. I have traveled nearly 1 million miles now and been in over 50 countries. And the fundamental issue at hand is the absolute truth that every life is a gift, and that our role is to teach that absolute truth. The only way that we're going to change the realities that confront our cultures is when society, every culture, loves life, respects life, protects life, and serves life. There is no other alternative. We will never find the true peace and justice and what we're looking for in our cultures in a sense of harmony among peoples until every human life is protected. Every human life. And what I see globally is that the degrading of culture. I see cultures degrading. Why are they degrading? Even in my own nation, I'm watching the growth in violence. In my own home state of Louisiana, in the southern part of the United States, in the city of New Orleans, every day there is murder. Sometimes 5, 6, 7 murders a day. When I was a younger boy, murder was something that you heard of once in a while. Now it's just common. We see an increase in domestic violence, an increase in the use of drugs, alcohol. We see crime just growing, even what we call small crimes, petty crimes. Why is all this escalating? Well, if we stop and think, how many little boys and girls every year are killed by abortion? 50 million. This crime against human life has to come to an end. But the only way that this is going to happen is when we as a people, and not just here in Slovakia, not just in Europe, but in every part of the world, where we as a people say that we will not accept violence against any life, that we will not accept any life to be taken as it is taken in abortion, that we will say as a people that as an absolute truth, that everything begins when we protect life, and that our society will grow only, and our healing will only occur, and our strengthening of world peace and peace among peoples and economic prosperity and justice for people only will occur when we as a people defend every life without exception. Without exception. There is no possibility of peace without this understanding. Now, this should not be new to us. Let me read you the quote taken from Pope Paul VI. And this came from Humani Vitae, July 25th of 1968. He says at the conclusion of his encyclical, "For man cannot attain that true happiness for which he yearns with all the strength of his spirit unless he keeps the laws which the Most High God has engraved in his very nature. These laws must be wisely and lovingly observed." Now, John Paul II would pick up this same message in Evangelium Vitae, reminding us again in paragraph 5 that I just read earlier, that the only way we're going to turn these things around is when we return to the very fundamental principle that every life is precious. And John Paul even goes further. He ties it very beautifully in with the word freedom. He says that protection of every life and freedom, true freedom, are intimately connected. If you harm one of them, you harm both of them. So when we destroy life, when we fail to protect life, we are affecting our own freedom. Now this makes sense. Consider the words of Mother Teresa. And she says in similar words that if I can take the life of a little innocent child in the womb, what stops me from killing each of you? What is the difference? There is no difference. The child in the womb is a human person with a soul. This life, no matter how small, maybe even unseen until the baby begins to develop more fully, but this is a human life, a child of God, a child of humanity. And so when we haphazardly take that life, we also begin to haphazardly take the life of each other. And that is why we see an increase in violence. This is why we see crime growing. And this is why we see escalations in war. And we see ideologies continue to distort humanity in its vision of its own self, because we fail to recognize in the womb the life that we cannot see. And that has to change. In parliaments around the world, we see such sadness from those that we call leaders. We ask of them to help protect life. And yet, in many cases, out of these bodies of legislation comes some of the most severe violence. Instead of protecting life, they, quote-unquote, grant the right to take life, making law what they don't have the right to make, deciding who lives and who dies, which is not entrusted to them. And in my own nation, which continues, sadly, to murder over 1.2 million little boys and girls every year, and my nation which spreads the poison to other nations through state policies and support of the United Nations, I tell people around the world, stop following the U.S. Stop listening to her. Not all of her citizens are bad. I'm standing here and I hope I represent something good. But the reality is my country I'm not proud of at all. Because there is so much that she is causing in harm to people everywhere. And I can tell you, I have been in some parts of the world when they announce that I'm from the United States, there are people who take a breath. And recently, I was in Belarus just a few weeks ago, and one of our brothers, a Russian Orthodox priest, after the lecture I gave at the Russian Orthodox Academy, said to me, he says, today, you have taught me something different about the United States. He says, usually we hear such bad things from your country. But today, you came such a distance to show me, to show us, he said, the face of a Christian, the face of God alive, and that not all people in the U.S. are doing harmful things. And I thank you for coming. It's important that we realize the power we have to change, to transform the world. And we have to do it by reteaching, helping people to understand. And it's important, and even though we heard today from some of our distinguished guests and just opening up this conference, that it would be nice to hear something good, something positive. But I want the same thing. And there are lots of good things happening. We should not mistake that. There are beautiful things happening. You are here, and that is a beautiful thing. We care. That is a beautiful thing. We are involved. That is a beautiful thing. So there is beauty, but there is violence. And I want to encourage you that we need to start using that word, violence. We need to use the word crime. Because in my country, like in many others, like here in Slovakia, where abortion is legal, people begin to think that's the law. That's what it is. What can I do about it? I disagree. In every article I write, in every lecture I give, I speak about the violence against human dignity. I speak about the crime against human life. Trying to reteach people how to think, how to be critical, and how to evaluate what's in front of them and realize that what we have in front of us is a crime. And no matter what court has declared it to be legal, it is a crime. And I just want to stress this. In the United States, at one time, the Supreme Court said that people of color, black people, were property. They didn't have a soul, at least a human soul. They were property. The Supreme Court of a nation declaring that a particular group of people, because of the color of their skin, were like a commodity. The court was wrong. It would eventually change. The court is wrong today, and it must change. And what's going to make that change is you and me. And when we start bringing more people into this conversation to talk about the beauty of life, the wonder of life, the plan that God has given to us in that absolute truth that all life is precious. And we look to God, the author of life, the one who teaches us the meaning of life. God is not selfish with love. He is not selfish with life. He gives it fully. And He's asking us to do the same. And so what I want to do today with each of you here is what I've been doing over this week now, almost a week that I'm here, trying to get people to memorize those 4 words. So let's see how you do. And again, I have to say it in English. Our wonderful translator is going to give it to you in your own language. We must learn to love life, respect life, protect life, and serve life. So let's see if I can get you to start memorizing 4 very important words. Together, love. All right, you're not doing a good job. Either the translator is speaking in Arabic language or something. So let's try this again. All right? I know he's trying to keep up, and I am very grateful for our translators. Always, always grateful. If I may, a side note before I move. I was just telling His Excellency that when I travel, and I always ask the Lord, Lord, would you please grant me the gift of tongues? The ability to speak in the native language of the people that I'm going to visit. Wouldn't that be a great miracle? He still hasn't given it to me. It would be a miracle. Yeah. So let's try this again. Love, respect, protect, and serve. These 4 words, love, respect, protect, and serve, need to be in every conversation we are in. In some kind of way, we have to teach these words to people. And what love is, and what respect means, and what protect requires, and what it means to serve each other. And so that means the moment that your eyes open in the morning, think of those 4 words. Before going to bed at night and closing your eyes, reflect, how did I live those 4 words? And be honest. Did I love? Did I respect? Did I protect? And did I serve? And be honest, because God will be honest with us. So let's learn those words. And what I want to do is I want to bring you to this point, and that is, where do we go from here? Bishop noted that coming is important, being here is important. But what we do when we leave here is vitally important. What can we do? Well, let me put some more words in your vocabulary. And I'm going to use, again, Evangelium Vitae, paragraph 96. I'm giving you homework. Paragraph 96, Evangelium Vitae. We have to develop, which means we have to teach people how to think. We have to form consciences. Example, when I leave the hotel tomorrow morning, they're not going to have to search my bags. I'm not taking their hairdryer. Right? So I'm not stealing. We have to help people to know right from wrong again. So we have to develop that. So our programs and our work, we have to teach a new language. With all respect, people have become stupid. Now let's say that again. I know it's not a fun word to hear, but people have become stupid. Saying what is good is now bad, and what is bad is now good. That's something stupid. We have to teach again. Second word, we have to mobilize consciences, which means we have to get more people involved. the 30 or 40 people here right now, and I know others will be coming, we need more. There's never, ever, ever enough. We need to mobilize, call people to action. Third word, we need to be united. Scripture says, a house divided cannot stand. Amen? Amen? We have to be united. Fourth, we have to activate a great campaign. In other words, united, we need to now pull people together, and an example of that would be the march that you have here. It's an example of pulling people together. But how many people make up the population of Slovakia? 5.5 million. 80,000 is remarkable. That would mean 5 million people would show up for the March for Life in Washington, D.C. if you put it in proper ratio. But where are the other 4 million people of Slovakia? Why are they not concerned about life? That they are active. That's a question we have to ask. And finally, the word together, John Paul uses. Together we build. Why unite and together? Don't they mean the same thing? They can. But John Paul is very specific here. Together, what he means is that we do it as a people entrusted with a precious gift. And in gratitude, together, having been given the gift of life from our divine Lord, that in a way, hand in hand, we walk the path of life together. So let us consider these words again, and then I'll conclude. The first four, let's practice. Make sure you remember them. Love, respect, protect, serve. All right, now you do it on your own. It's weak. One more time, nice and loud. The bishop wants to hear you. Come on. Very good. Now, let's see if you can memorize the last five. Okay? Develop, mobilize, unite, activate, and being together. Let's try it. Okay? One more time. Develop, mobilize, unite, activate, together. Now, at the end of the conference tonight, I'm giving a pop test. You don't get supper unless you make an A+. 100%. All right? God bless.